I'm Dr. Kamini Trua, professor in the ABBS group. I've been with the ABBS group for over 18 years. It was actually my passion for research and teaching, which made me explore the Middle East. I'm engaged with research in various facets of Vision 2030. My work aims to bridge gaps in general representation in the workforce and also how consumer behavior is influenced. We can proudly say that we have been highly successful in motivating students stay curious and open minded. We have a wonderful curriculum which is based on what the corporate world requires and wants. Welcome to Change Makers by ABBS. In this episode, we have Dr. Kamini Dhruva, Professor, ABBS School of Management. She is also an expert in marketing, experiential retailing, and neuromarketing. With experience in both India and Middle East, she shares her perspective on education, workforce challenges, and the evolving landscape of hands-on learning. We will also discuss ABBS global programs and how students can leverage resources for entrepreneurship. Tune in for an inspiring conversation on education, innovation, and making a real world impact. Hello, ma'am. I welcome you to Change Makers by ABPS podcast. Thank you so much for joining us in today. Thank you so much, Neeta, for having me. And I'm Dr. Kamini Trua, professor in the ABBS group. And I hold a doctorate in management from AMU. And I've been with this institute with the ABBS group for over 18 years. So prior to this, I worked with Jyotinivas College in Bangalore, and it was actually my passion and zest for research and teaching, which made me explore the Middle East. And I have contributed my services to Al Yamama University, Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. And during my tenure there, and even now, I'm engaged with research in various facets of Vision 2030, women empowerment, then the participation of women in the workforce, then tourism in light of Vision 2030 in KSA, and also in other areas like experiential retailing, marketing, neuromarketing. To put all in a nutshell, all I can say is these experiences have really shaped my understanding to get a clearer vision on what cross-cultural dynamics plays in business and education. So basically, my work aims to bridge gaps in general representation in the workforce and also how consumer behavior is influenced by so many reasons, like, say, by sensory or emotional engagement. So I'm really very passionate on how I would use my resources and being a professor to empower youth and women through research and through these practical applications. So, ma'am, given your experience of working in Saudi Arabia, the next question will be on that. So, what are some challenges and opportunities that you find for women in Saudi Arabia's workforce? That's actually a very, very interesting question, Neeta. Is that I was in the country at a time where there were very significant changes which were happening. Like, say, for example, women were allowed to drive, then there were laws for women to work, and Vision 2030 came into force because the heir apparent he brought in a lot of changes. So these changes ensured that it would elevate the women workforce participation from the existing low rate to 30%. Right. And you would be actually surprised that, I've been following it even after I've come back. I've written a couple of papers. I have some publications in this area with a close friend and colleague. And right now, it is about 36%, which the Vision 2030 looked was for 30%. So here you could see that a lot of goodness and a lot of changes have happened. But on the other side, if you really see, you have certain things like, cultural norms, gender stereotypes, limited mobility, family responsibility, and at times workforce, workplace discrimination. It happens all over the world, which could hinder, career advancement and participation. So comparatively, if you look at India's position, we have remained kind of stagnant in the Why I would say stagnant is when you look at the growth, the Saudi growth that has been much faster than the growth happening in India. But the rural participation, that is the female labor force participation in the rural area, has grown quite a bit. Thanks to the great initiatives of our government and how they want to take those initiatives to create those forces to uplift the participation of women in the workforce. How education and also student engagement differs from India and Middle East? That's also pretty interesting. Now, if you really look at the Indian system of learning, we see that often in India, the emphasis more, Neeta, is on rote learning, very standardized testing, right? But while the Middle East shows a greater focus on specialized fields and international collaborations. But in India, there is actually a very strong foundation of theoretical knowledge, and there's a lot of competition when we talk in terms of academic performance. But practical exposure is kind of limited. But in other parts of the world, you see that the growing focus is on industry participation, industry partnerships, experiential learning. But however it is, you see the student engagement styles kind of differ. While, Indian students often excel in analytic thinking, while Middle Eastern students tend to be more collaborative and open, as I told you, in exploring creative solutions. But that's what makes us special in our institute, in the ABBS group, because our entire curriculum, our way of approach to management education is centered around giving experiential education and also exploring collaborative and creating creative solutions to issues and problems. Right. You have done extensive research on experiential retailing, marketing, and also neuromarketing. So, would you like to shed some light on it, and also what are some future scopes in it? Yes, why not? Actually, I've done a lot of collaborative research too, and some of my research has been in the areas of sovereign debt with say Dr. Yasin Ghulam, director of research and consulting center in the institute I worked in the university I worked earlier in Al Yamama University, and with the other research I have done in the area of experiential retailing or studies in consumer behavior, I have found that there is a little more than just creating an emotional or a sensory connection with consumers. It is not just about selling a product. So my research indicates, or shows that consumers are drawn to experiences that engage multiple senses, especially in the area of neuromarketing, where sight, sound, touch, even smell. Okay, I mean, these are certain factors which are contributing towards brand loyalty. And a field like neuromarketing helps us understand these subconscious triggers too. Now, in the future, I'm sure, we see the role of AI. So AI and data analytics will open the floor or will show us more personalized shopping experience where brands can anticipate, consumer needs in real time, creating deeper emotional engagement, etc. I'm currently, in fact, working on a paper. It's a working paper with international collaboration on the role of neuroaesthetics, cultural economics, how they play a role in enhancing Instagram advertising in the beauty and cosmetic brands in India and the Middle East. So here, the study also seeks to aim this gap, bridge this gap by investigating what neuroaesthetic principles are. That is like what I mentioned: color, psychology, visual appeal, cultural and economic factors, right? And how these create an influence on consumer engagement and purchase decisions on Instagram advertisement in these regions, in India and the Middle East. So I think these are a couple of areas I'm exploring right now. That's right. How does ABP's hands-on learning approach actually help students to meet the challenges of the real world? Yes. So we all realize at ABBS, our group realizes that, hands-on learning is very critical because it bridges the gap between theory and practice. And here our students have the opportunity to work on live projects. We have internships, two types of internships, one the minor and one the major, through case studies. These mirror real world business challenges. Builds confidence. It also teaches adaptability, problem solving. Many other initiatives of my institute, like the Capstone, the Campus to Community. We have over 30 plus certifications, the industrial visits. We have a theater and management. Then we have introduced a concept called as audit courses. The student apart from his area of specialization, can he or she can choose another subject or course in the curriculum, and it is mentioned in their mark sheet, or it's present one, it is recognized by the outside world, and that's a wonderful way how we are bridging the gap between industry and academics. We also have centers of excellence, like, say, the Mahatma Gandhi International Research Center for Conflict Prevention and Management, or we have centers of excellence in supply chain, centers of excellence in analytics and data science, centers of excellence for MDPs and EDPs. And we strongly believe that we have to introduce the latest changes happening in the business world. Like, say, we have a center of excellence in disaster management and mitigation with, the Tejas group. And this joint venture offers a lot of training in the areas of disaster management and mitigation. We have other programs like, the industry inspiration program of our group. And we strongly advocate, inclusivity, diversity, etc. So, these are certain initiatives which we have incorporated, which where we can proudly say that we have been highly successful in motivating students and creating corporate students who are also sensitive to societal issues and problems. So it gives us a holistic growth and development. Right. Would it better to understand this approach, that how important it is to have an international collaboration in today's world, because you yourself have worked in like Middle East and also various other, research with various other collaboration. So how you think it is important for students to take an international approach, and how ABB's international program is actually helping it out? Okay. Now, Neeta, my institute, we are connected with a lot of international universities as well as institutes of repute in India and abroad. And our global, exposure program are very well designed to equip students with a well-rounded international perspective. We think of, our main focus is very well-rounded. When I say well-rounded, international perspective by integrating practical learning experiences with global industry trends. So these initiatives not only prepare students for competitive business landscape, but it also helps to foster adaptability, problem solving, and cultural awareness. So our students, we have this student exchange programs also, and our students, we have students from other countries visiting our campus, and this is a great learning. This is a wonderful way of how knowledge, exposure, and interaction plays a very great role in creating this international powerhouse within our curriculum. Right. So, ma'am, actually, for faculty members, for professors, teachers, research is something, it defines your career, it defines your goal, and also it defines your character as a teacher. Yes. So, you have done an extensive research, and of course, like students while joining any institute, they also look for the faculty members who has done research in their own areas. So, what are your goals for future research, especially in youth empowerment and women empowerment? Yes. So, Neeta, let me first tell you this, that, probably the world is recognizing research now, but research has been embedded in our curriculum for students too. We offer credits for research too. And therefore, we have this capstone project too for students. That is also a accredited course in our curriculum. And this exposes students to research in a very, very big way. And they can collaborate with, and take the help of faculty. We have a great faculty setup here where one can collaborate, work, and also come out with great ideas. So having this embedded in our system itself is a good initiative. So these kind of, it helps the students embrace diverse perspectives and also encourages them not to be afraid of, conventional thinking. So this also ensures cross-cultural experiences. It helps to teach resilience, boosts creativity, and these are very invaluable in today's interconnected world. Right, that's true. But ABPS also helps those students who not only want to sit for the placement, but also they want to pursue entrepreneurship as their career. So, how a student who is like watching our podcast, how they can take the help of ABPS resources to build a career in entrepreneurship? Yes. So, Anita, in our institute, we have an incubation cell also. And this is supported by our alumni and also from people from the industry. And therefore, it is a very well developed system which is present in the institute. So, students who have that entrepreneurial flair or the spark can always, visit this incubation center and can get assistance because we have various connects even in the industry. And this idea, their idea can be given wings and can be floated. Right. And what advice would you give to especially students for research and cross cultural learning? Number one on the list is stay curious and open minded, right? And research is not about only finding answers, it's about also asking the right questions. So, this is also part of our initiative to make the student start thinking and not go by the traditional way of accepting answers or accepting knowledge from, just theoretical sources. So, we strongly believe in making the student think first, analyze, and also, set his thinking in the right way, the emotion in the right way. And as I told you, that the best way is to stay hungry and, stay curious and be very, very open minded. That's true. Also, few pointers like why a student should choose ABBS for his or her MBA program. One, as I told you, Neeta, earlier, is our curriculum. We have a wonderful curriculum which is based on what the corporate world requires and wants. And we strongly believe that management studies are multidisciplinary in nature. Their comprehensive skill and development can happen through specialized programs, which I mentioned earlier to you. Yeah. We offer our certifications. We are tied up. We offer value-added programs like Six Sigma, and we have various centers of excellence, whereby these programs can improve their employability and also provide industry-relevant skills and certifications. And I told you about the other programs and other things which we have introduced, like theater in management, which is a very novel idea where we strongly believe that this would help to remove the students from their silos, and help them communicate better. We also have Nalikali, a new initiative which we have introduced, where because our students come from all over India. So this program, introduces Kannada to them, because we strongly believe that it is good for them to learn the language of the state that they're staying in. We also have the ABBS STEM, right? It's a platform. The ABBS STEM is a journal for students which provides a platform for them to engage in leadership and entrepreneurial activities. And the others I mentioned to you earlier when I was talking through. All right, it was really an insightful conversation, and thank you so much for giving us your time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much for joining us in today. Yeah, thank you, Neeta. I thoroughly enjoyed interacting and talking to you and our audience. And I wish everyone great luck. And I invite prospective students to look at our website and join us and know more about our group and what we do and what we offer. So thank you so much again, Neeta. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.